friends. Welcome to my home and welcome to my kitchen. You know, one of my favorite quotes, which is was said by a very wise man. His name was Hippocrates, back from ancient Greece times. He said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Que el alimento sea tu medicina, y tu medicina sea tu alimento." Now, saying all of that, I believe that self-care is the new healthcare. However, with all the shenanigans that are going on right now, I think sometimes nowadays we've got self-care maybe the only healthcare. But what I have learned is that self-care begins with nutritional knowledge. And that nutritional knowledge is brought into our kitchens. And whatever's in our kitchen is what we eat and what we feed ourselves at the cellular level and what we give to our loved ones at home. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I didn't always feel like this. I was just like everybody else, just like you out there, just a regular person living life. And I'd go to the doctors, whatever. It was just regular things happen. But just like many of you, I had a health challenge that came my way. And so about 12 years ago, back in 2008, that beginning of that year, let's see, I had a daughter that was married. I had a son that was out of the country on a mission trip. And then I had our baby was a senior in high school. We were doing the whole high school, sports and all the get together and all the activities, and everyone would come over to the house. We were just living life. We were doing the things that we, as families, we do. So later on that spring, the day before Easter Sunday, that night before, my father passed away. And he passed away of colon cancer. And that was the beginning, that was the first chapter of everything going downhill for me for a while. So what happened was that I ended up I live in Dallas. My mother lives in California. My mom and dad lived in California. And so I went and I stayed with my mother for 6 months. And there were a lot of things that needed to be taken care of, and I did. And around, let's see, July timeframe, I noticed that things were changing. I was not feeling well. And I was starting to have these hot flashes. And of course, my mother laughing, you got the hot flashes. Well, girls, hot flashes go up and then they quickly come down. You're maybe up there, but it feels like forever, for like about a minute, but it feels like an hour. Well, I was going up and I was staying there. And I was staying there for literally almost a full-blown hour. I thought I was going to die until finally I would go back down and I would continue this. I had to change literally after every hot flash. It was so bad, we knew that something was wrong. This was not a normal hot flash, what I was going through. So we came back to Dallas, and I went to different doctors, and of course, you're just going through the changes. There's some over-the-counter stuff that you can take that will help out with those changes. You'll be all right. And then we started noticing other things. And I went to a total of 8 different doctors who were trying to figure this out. You're just depressed. Let me give you some antidepressants. You're gaining weight? What? You're gaining weight? Oh, no, you've got to eat less and exercise more. That's what I was being told. Eat less and exercise more. And I remember I was eating all salads. I was power walking. I was a runner. I was a dance teacher. I was a dance teacher and I was running and I was gaining weight. And I'm talking like a lot of weight at the time. And so we finally went and I begged one of my doctors to please give me a specialist. And I went to an endocrinologist. And she ran all these tests. It took maybe about 2 months that she just did all of these tests. And then she comes back and she says, well, I'm looking at him. I think you've got a brain tumor. You need to go get an MRI. So we did. We went to Dallas, got an MRI. Sure enough, it was confirmed that I had a brain tumor. At that point, we didn't realize what kind of brain tumor, what was going on. We just knew that it was a brain tumor. And so she said, I would recommend you find a neurosurgeon. So I did my homework. And I found the best neurosurgeon that I can. And where was he? He was in California at one of the best universities in California. And he also introduced me to an amazing endocrinologist. And these gentlemen are like cover of Time magazine. They teach doctors how to do what they do. That's what they do at this university. During this time that I was there, I was going there. I went back every 3 months. I would go back, and I was at that hospital for a full week because I was out of town. So I was there for a full week, and they would run all these tests. They were giving me medications to try and manage my symptoms. And at that time, we already knew that it was a brain tumor, but we didn't understand until shortly thereafter that the tumor had wrapped around my pituitary, and it had wrapped around my hypothalamus, and it was coming and wrapping around my optic nerve, which meant that sorry about that. It happened at that point. We were doing all of these tests. I was extremely exhausted. So much was going on, and I was diagnosed at that point with what's called Cushing's disease. And if you've ever had a pet, a lot of pets get Cushing's. Well, so do humans. And Cushing's, what it is, basically, you secrete a whole bunch of hormones and you gain a lot of weight. You can eat like a bird. You can exercise all you want, and you're not going to lose a pound. You continue gaining and gaining weight. And the predictions for me at the time, after sitting with our doctor, this is in a span, all this happened in a span of 9 months, was you need to be prepared. You will probably end up at around 600 pounds. Now, I'm 5'3", so that should tell you what my condition would be at that point. As we continue to do more and more tests, then we end up finding out that on top of the Cushing's disease, what I ended up having was that the tumors ended up spreading throughout my body, and it was specifically throughout my endocrine system. Now, the endocrine system, those are all hormone producing glands. So by this time now, I've got tumors. I had 5 in my thyroid and parathyroid, my adrenal glands, my pancreas, my uterus. If you were to go like this and had marbles, it was completely covered all the way around in tumors completely. And at that point, it was one of those things where you realize, okay, so what are we doing now? By this time, I'm losing my hair. I was having a hard time seeing. The situation got so bad that I remember that we lived away from the mall. And I remember thinking that I was going to the mall, and I remember 45 minutes later, I called my husband, and I had gone the opposite direction 45 minutes. And I don't know how it happened, but I called my husband. I don't know how I realized to call my husband. And I told him that I was pulled over on the side of a busy street. And he said, you need to find a corner. Find the streets. Do you see the streets? And I could not compute in my head how to find the streets. So thank goodness I was able to find a corner, a gas station. And through there, I was able to get my head back in order to be able to recognize the street name, so I could tell my husband so that he could tell me how to drive back home. I was retaining a lot of water because my lymphatic system was backing up. The lymphatic system is what dumps all the toxins out of your body. My body wasn't doing that. I was holding on to all of these toxins because I was not able to let go. So there was tons of water retention. But the worst thing I think was probably the head pains. It felt like little pinpricks on my head, just really strong head pains. And there was no amount of Tylenol or medication that they could give me. And the doctors at the time were giving me medicines to just manage the symptoms. So finally, it came right down to it. And I sat down with the doctors, my husband and I, we had flown in, but this is the third time that we had flown in, and we said, okay, where are we at? What are we doing? What's going on? And what's the protocol? So it says, okay, we have two choices. And I said, okay, give it to me. So choice number one, a combination of what's called the gamma knife, which is radiation to the brain, radiation to the pituitary, the hypothalamus, chemotherapy for the rest of the tumors throughout my endocrine system, and that I would be on hormones for the rest of my life. And on top of that, that I needed to be ready, that I would change, that my forever was not going to be married to the woman that you originally met. Because what happens when you get radiation to that part of the brain, it changes you. You change, your personality changes, and basically he was going to become a caretaker in his 40s. So I said, so what's my option number two? Option number two was to go home, do nothing, and they were giving me 9 months at the time. So I went home, we flew back home, and I remember the next day, I was sitting there, and I thought, I couldn't believe what was happening. And I thought, I'm never going to meet my grandchildren. At that time, I didn't have any grandchildren. I'm never going to meet my grandchildren. I was afraid of forgetting my children's names. I was afraid of forgetting what my forever looked like. And, you know, the divorce rate for people that go through any kind of change with their brain, any kind of neuroendocrine tumors, is very high. Because again, the one that is going through all this, the patient, changes. They're not the same. They're irritable, and the other person has to take a back seat. And most marriages don't last. So I realized that at that time I needed to do something. So I started going over to the bookstore, and I remember going to, it was a half-price bookstore, and I picked out a book, and it was from a neurosurgeon's perspective, brain tumors and a neurosurgeon. And who was that neurosurgeon? It was Deepak Chopra. And that actually begins my second chapter of my journey. Deepak Chopra. I don't know the name of the book. I can't tell you what page. I have no idea, but I remember this. He talked about how we understand mind over matter. And then I learned about mind over brain. And I didn't understand it then. I didn't get it then. But I remember it made an impact on me, and I was trying to figure it out. So I realized that at that point was, I knelt down. I remember on my knees that night, and I made a promise to God. And my promise was, if you would heal me and teach me and help me to be here for my family and my husband and my grandchildren, then I will share this information so I can help others. And I made that promise. And now I was committed. I was committed. And I started going to medical conferences. I went to women's health conferences. I followed David Wolf. And any of you that know this, he's just an absolutely crazy guy. I absolutely love him. And he did the longevity health conferences. I learned about the Max Gerson therapy. I got certified in their way of healing. They came from Tijuana, Mexico, and they came to San Diego, and I came and stayed in San Diego for 5 days so I could learn how to properly juice and how to help the body from all of these tumors. I went to Optimum Health Institute in San Diego, and I stayed there for 3 weeks doing raw vegan. Raw vegan. Oh my goodness. I thought I was going to die. And then afterwards I did end up liking it though. And then I also went to Sonovi Medical Center in Rosarito, Mexico, and I learned a different aspect of healing and different ways of how to heal the body. And I also learned about Dr. Johanna Budwig and her protocol. And I applied all of these protocols to my body because I wanted it bad enough. I wanted this. I learned from Dr. Neil Barnard and his way of cooking. And I went through the program, the Salad Master Cooking, which, by the way, that is another amazing thing, learning how to cook and have the proper tools. So that way you don't have these toxins that seep into the food, and how to cook in a vegan way that, and many of you might know Dr. Neil Barnard from New York. That is his way of healing the body. He believes in veganism. That is one protocol that's a protocol that he uses. But I also learned a few other things. I learned that the cell has a nucleus, which is the brain of the cell. And I learned that you can change the brain of that cell. It didn't have to stay that way. It was whatever I needed to do was I could help my cells out. But most important, I learned how to be open-minded. I had to be open-minded from my traditional way of thinking. I was committed. How bad did I want it? I wanted it bad. And what else did come from all of these things? What else did I learn? I learned how to nurture my body, how to care for it and love my body, because I was very broken. I was very depressed and very broken. I did not think that I was a very pretty woman. And I did not give credit. I did not give credit to the dis-ease that was trying to take me down. And by the same token, though, I embraced it, and I wanted to understand it and learn about it so that I could beat it. I wanted to learn how to beat this disease, especially Cushing's, that there is no cure. They don't know how to cure. Till this day, they're still trying to figure it out. So even with all of this, I learned so much, and I just said, you know what? I think that I can do this. I think that I can do this and apply these practices so that I can get better. And I attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, where I became a certified integrative nutrition health coach. And I love that word, health coach, because what it does as a practitioner, it helps me to coach people to take ownership of their own health. I don't do it. I don't tell them what they're going to do. I put it on them. They have to take ownership of their own health, just like I did. I had to be responsible for myself and what was good for me, because only I am inspired, divinely inspired for my body. So with all of this and with health coaching, what's great, and this is something that I learned along the way, but it was really solidified when I became a health coach, is now I help others focus on how to gradually make lifestyle changes so that they can make a big impact on their health. I focus on the root cause of the problem, because I now understand my root cause. Believe it or not, there are root causes to all of our diseases. But that's, girls, that's for like another lesson. But now, so what do I do now? That's what counts now. What do I do now? What am I doing now to prevent dis-ease in my everyday life and to maintain good health in my everyday life? And what am I doing now to lay a foundation of health, of vitality, and longevity? What am I doing now? And that's what I want to share with you. I made that promise. I want to share with you what I do to keep myself as healthy as possible and not go back to where I was. So there are 5 areas that I believe, now there's many, okay? It's not just these 5. There is a school of thought that there's primary nutrition and secondary nutrition. I'm going to focus on the secondary nutrition. And within that secondary nutrition, there are 5 areas that I believe are crucial, that if we don't nurture these 5 areas and have nutritional neglect, that we will end up, it will make an impact on our body, and we're not going to like it. We will not be happy. And so, again, these are the things that I do to prevent dis-ease, maintain good health every day. So this is what I do. First of all, I anything and everything that I take in, I try very hard. Sometimes it's difficult. I try very hard to be soy free. Our soy is 99% genetically modified. 99%. I try to stay, well, through my healing process, I stayed gluten-free, but now I've learned other ways of eating. Maybe it's not the gluten. Maybe it's something else in that grain. Maybe it's not the gluten. I learned to stay non-GMO and to stay 100% as much as I can pure and premium in the things that I ingest. And to try to stay even beyond organic. To try to find foods that are beyond organic practices for myself, so that I can nurture my body to the cellular level. So I want to start off with one of the first things that I do, that I find it's important, and that's gut health. So let me show you. Hold on. So this, I take these two little beautiful little pills right here. I take one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Gut health. You know, processed foods, we have so much processed food in our diet. We have what's called glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup. In 2016, the World Health Organization came out and said that, oh, it's probable carcinogenic. But in 2017, thank you, California. California came out and said it causes cancer. They completely stopped spraying this cancer causing herbicide all over their playgrounds, all over their yards and in their parks. Good for California for doing that. And because this glyphosate can be found in 100% of the population. Now, 100%, that means you got this. You have this herbicide in you. But what's great is that these two little things right here, I take one in the morning and one at night. This is like gold for me because it's proven to eliminate up to 75% of that glyphosate in 6 weeks. And it's the first and only product to receive the gold seal of approval by the Detox Project, which is a third-party validator. This is a pre and probiotic. It rebuilds the gut. It rebuilds that microbiome. And let me tell you something else. That is crucial because when you clean the gut, you clean the brain. There is a gut-brain superhighway between the two of them that if you clean one, I'm telling you, no foggy brain. You're not going to have a foggy brain. The next thing is restorative sleep. You cannot heal without having restorative sleep. So I take it every night, and it's this. Let me bring you down here so you can see this. And it is this tart cherry. It's 100% tart cherry. It is the single most potent fruit that there is on the face of the earth, literally. Studies show that tart cherries it has natural accruing melatonin, and melatonin is vital. It's a vital hormone, and I'm gonna mix it with water. It's a vital hormone, and it has vital antioxidants for healing and repairing. But what's great about this, it also, so good. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. This right here, anti-inflammatory properties, which may help with uric acid buildup and all forms of inflammation. And you know what? What is the culprit to a lot of this dis-ease in our body is inflammation. Inflammation. Now, this, some people call it their Apotha wine because it tastes a little bit like wine. It's so delish. But let me tell you, for those people that say, oh, I don't want to try that, I don't want to try that. If you're going to sit there and go taste some of those, you know, fermented grapes, those cheap fermented grapes that you have there every night because you think that it's just going to relax you, quite honestly, they're very high in sugar. So what is that doing to your system? This has the anti-inflammatory properties. The other ones, sugar is a culprit to inflammation, which is the culprit to dis-ease every night. I have 3 more items that I take in every day, okay? And the other one is, hold on, let me bring you down here. Here we go. And the other one is digestive friendly protein. I take 5 of these every day. Let me tell you something. You're thinking, Marty, that's not chicken. That's not like a steak or anything like that. Exactly. And did you know, by the way, if you're diabetic, you should not be having any of that red meat. Do your research. At least a lot of my diabetic clients, they know that red meat turns into sugar in your system. Now, is that going to help you if you're diabetic? I have no idea. But anyway. Oh, and wait, and also if you're a cancer patient, did you know that red meat actually takes 72 hours to digest, to go through your system to be able to get rid of it? When your body is trying to take that energy to be able to heal, now it has to take that energy and it has to use it to be able to break down this meat, to break that down. So this is what I love about this. Let me tell you something. Look at this. 5 of these every morning. I can also throw them in my shakes too. So let's see. Over 30 double-blind clinical studies improve elasticity, great for anti-aging, your elasticity, and it's pre-digestive. What does that mean? It means that it does not go through the digestive system. It goes straight to the muscles, straight to your muscles. So 99% of this goes straight to the muscles. And now other proteins, by the way, whether it's meat, whey protein, whatever you're putting in your shakes, it's only 30 to 50% is actually absorbed by the body. This, 99%, straight to your muscles. It's absolutely the best that is out there. 5 of these every day. And those other ones, by the way, still have to go through your liver and your kidneys, and it slows you down. You kind of feel a little heavy after having like a big heavy meal. That's all that protein that you're having. And by the way, one more thing. You need to have, oh, that's going to bring me to my other one. You need to have fiber. Meat does not have fiber, which brings me to this. This is a jewel right here. Detoxification through proper elimination. Taking out the trash, people, taking out the trash. So I put this in maybe a little bit of orange juice, or like I put it in my shakes or my smoothies, because a sick colon is a sick body. And when you have a sick colon, it prevents from absorbing minerals, vitamins, nutrients, and some of the signs of a toxic colon, of course, bad breath, diarrhea, bloating, constipation, irritable bowels, hemorrhoids, all the things that we don't want to talk about, flatulence, all that good stuff. Yep, you need fiber. Best of the best. And it's plant-based. None of that fake stuff that is out there that's trying to mimic fiber that is not good for the body. And now I'm saving the best for last. My favorite. Okay, so let me bring this over. See if I can do this. There we go. This right here. This is the key. Even though I went to all of these places, let me tell you, the one thing that they all varied a little bit different, but there was one thing they all had in common, one thing, and that was that they all of them had green drinks. They encouraged green drinks. And this little beauty right here, this has spirulina and wheatgrass, which, by the way, wheatgrass is known to be anti-cancerous. Quinoa, it has chia. It's full of chlorophyll and alkalizing nutrient-dense foods that help you to the cellular level. And it's plant-based, it's an energizer. And with the rice bran solubles that's in here, it activates your skinny hormone. Who doesn't want to lose weight, right? So right here, this is my power shake for my superheroes. And let me show you what I do. It's so simple. Now you can put it in a shake if you want to. It's so simple because I'm all about easy. I'm all about convenient, nutritious, you know, things that are convenient, nutritious, and delicious. I'm all about those 3 things. All I'm doing is I'm just putting it in here in water. That's all I did. And you know, you all know that I have traveled quite a bit. Don't leave home without it. I'd rather leave home without my American Express, but I do not leave home without this. I shake it, and that's all I do. That's it. That's all I do. So let me tell you something. There is hope. There is hope to healing. There is hope to getting better. Help your doctors. Help them. Take ownership. Take ownership of your health. Look at this. That, my friends, is healing. It's liquid sunshine, taking a shower from the inside out. It's easy, it's nutritious, it's delicious, it's convenient, it's a meal replacement, it's all of it. And these are the things that I do to prevent dis-ease, to maintain good health, to establish health, vitality, and longevity. Cheers.